This happened a few years ago when I was 11. One night, my mom went out with friends to a casino while my dad was working late. That left me home alone with my two older sisters. At first, it was fun. We watched TV, ate junk food, and stayed up way later than we were supposed to. Around 11 p.m., one of my sisters suggested we play hide and seek. Then she smiled and said, "Let's do it in the forest." There was a wooded area behind our neighborhood. During the day, it wasn't too creepy, but at night it looked terrifying. I didn't want to seem scared, so I agreed. My sisters gave me a blindfold and told me to count while they hid with flashlights. After counting to 30, I wandered through the trees calling their names. The forest was freezing cold and almost completely silent, except for crunching leaves beneath my feet. 10 minutes passed. Then 15. I still couldn't find them. At one point, I tripped over a branch and scraped my knees badly. While trying to stand back up, I reached out and touched what felt like someone sitting against a tree. I smiled. "Found you!" Then I heard my sisters laughing somewhere behind me. Confused, I slowly removed the blindfold. An old man was sitting directly in front of me. He wore filthy clothes and had wild gray hair. In his hand was a large knife. He smiled at me. "Can I play too?" he whispered. I screamed so loudly my throat hurt. My sisters saw him and immediately started running. I sprinted after them as fast as I could while hearing the man crashing through the woods behind us. I looked back once. He was chasing us while laughing hysterically and waving the knife around. I thought we were going to die. Eventually, he stopped running and just stood there staring at us from the darkness before disappearing back into the forest. We made it home seconds before my dad pulled into the driveway. After hearing what happened, he called the police immediately. Officers searched the woods for hours. Eventually, they found him. The next day, local news stations reported that the man had murdered several children and hidden their bodies inside those same woods. After hearing that, I couldn't stop shaking. To this day, I still hate forests at night. This happened when I was 17 years old living in Toronto. It was winter. And one night, a massive snowstorm hit the city while I was finishing my part-time shift. Around 9 p.m., I stood alone inside a bus stop shelter waiting for my bus home. The streets were almost empty because of the weather. Snow blew violently through the air. Streetlights flickered, and barely any cars passed by. After standing there alone for about 10 minutes, a large man who looked around his 50s walked into the shelter. The second I saw him, I felt uncomfortable. He had a strange smirk on his face and smelled terrible. Like alcohol and cigarettes soaked into old clothes, he stood way too close to me and started making small talk. "Pretty late for a young girl to be out here," he said in a low voice. I forced a small smile and explained I had just finished work. Then he asked where I lived. I lied and said nearby. He chuckled quietly. "You'll be waiting a long time," he said. "Buses are delayed tonight." I pulled out my phone to check the bus schedule, but the freezing weather had drained the battery completely. My phone died instantly. The man took another step closer. "You should come with me for a bit," he whispered. "I know somewhere warm." Every alarm in my body went off. I backed away and told him no, but he kept insisting. "Don't worry," he said. "I'll bring you back before your bus comes." I was terrified. There was nobody else around. Then, thankfully, another woman entered the bus shelter. The second she stepped inside, the man stopped talking and moved away silently. About 15 minutes later, the bus finally arrived. I sat near the middle beside the woman, while the creepy man sat all the way at the back. The entire ride, I could feel him staring directly at me. Every time I looked back, he was still watching. Eventually, my stop came. I got off the bus along with the woman. As we walked away, I suddenly heard footsteps behind us. I turned around. The man had gotten off too, and he was following us. I completely panicked. Without even thinking, I grabbed the woman's arm and whispered, "Please help me. That man's following me." She immediately noticed how strange he was acting and quietly nodded. "Stay close to me," she said. We walked together quickly through the snowy streets. After a few minutes, I looked behind us again. The man had stopped walking. He stood under a streetlight staring at me, motionlessly for several seconds, before slowly turning around and disappearing into the snowstorm. The woman safely walked me all the way home. My parents thanked her over and over again after hearing what happened. I never saw that man again. But even now, years later, I still get nervous whenever I wait alone at a bus stop late at night. This happened when I was around 11 years old, one weekend. I went to my friend Kenzie's house along with another friend named Emma. We were supposed to work on geometry homework. But like most middle school kids, we got bored almost immediately. So instead, we watched scary videos, ate snacks, and told ghost stories. At one point, Kenzie casually mentioned something that made me uncomfortable. You know, she said, the previous owner of this house was murdered here. Emma laughed nervously. Kenzie continued, sometimes I feel like someone's living inside my closet. I remember forcing myself to laugh even though chills ran down my spine. Later that night, Kenzie's parents left for a party and wouldn't be back until morning. After begging our parents for permission, we officially turned the night into a sleepover. Around 8 p.m., we decided to clean Kenzie's insanely messy bedroom and record a time-lapse video on my phone for fun. We started throwing clothes everywhere and dancing around while the camera recorded. Then the doorbell rang. Pizza delivery. Without thinking, we left the camera running and went downstairs to eat. We stayed downstairs for almost half an hour. When we finally returned to the room, I grabbed my phone to stop the recording. That's when I felt something was wrong. The room felt silent, too silent. I looked at Emma and Kenzie and whispered, "Come here." The three of us sat on the bed and replayed the footage. At first, everything looked normal. Then the bedroom window slowly opened. All three of us froze. A man climbed inside the room. He looked dirty and thin, wearing dark clothes and gloves. He glanced around the room before quietly slipping into the connected bathroom. The video kept recording, but he never came back out. We stared at the screen in absolute horror. Someone was still inside the bathroom, right beside us. Kenzie started crying. We quietly backed out of the room without making a sound and ran to her grandmother's room with her little sister. We locked the door and called the police. The longest 5 minutes of my life passed before officers finally arrived. They searched the bedroom carefully. Then they found him, hiding near the bathroom sink. Police arrested him immediately. Next to him were a gun and a pocket knife. A few days later, we learned the truth. The man had recently escaped prison after being jailed for attacking and murdering young girls. If we hadn't checked that camera footage, we probably would have gone to sleep in that room.